be really emotional with like 150 people watching me for the movie, and I could feel them while I was on camera, and so like I'm used to it.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. Thing you learn to be in front of people. Yeah. Okay, you ready? We ready here?
So the theme is goals.
Goals. Okay.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, go for it. Strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy are the noise before defeat. Sun Tzu. Good morning, friends. This is Dustin and Tyler the Superhuman, episode number 53 of the Formless Podcast. Sorry, it's been a little bit wild. Lots of crazy stuff happening. And what's new?
Oh, still working on my movie, plugging along on my movie. New year, new goals.
New you.
New me, yeah. No, I've been doing a lot of things in the new year. I, wanted to kick it off with a bang, so I jumped in a pool at midnight.
Oh, right on. with your clothes on or off?
I was in like some spandexy, shorts, jumped in a pool at a work party.
At a work party. Oh, it got wild.
Yeah. So we were in a hot tub, and the wedding or the ball drops, and everyone's like Happy New Year, and me and my girlfriend are in this hot tub at this party, and I'm like, oh man, I missed it, and so I jump out of the hot tub and run around and jump off the diving board and do one of those flying squirrel dives into the pool head first. So that's how I bring it in. But yeah, I've just been plugging along on new movie stuff, coming along. We'll get into that.
Yeah. So last time we talked about goals and the steps needed, but we didn't really go into depth on that. So I thought we'd do that a little bit more. But before that happens, I gotta sidetrack here and tell a crazy story.
Let's hear it.
So my niece, who's 4 years old, got real sick over Christmas break. Ended up in the hospital on Christmas Eve. Came home, got sicker, had to go back to the hospital. They life flighted her down to UC Davis, her and her dad. And I'm gonna try not to cry. My sister's best friend, so my niece's mom, my sister, her best friend set up a GoFundMe account. And I shared it on our Instagram page, right? Along with, I'm doing the Deaf Reset.
With Jocko's.
Yeah. So I shared it with that and just said, hey guys, if you got some, if you can, donate. If you can't, just share it. I want to get it out to as many people as I can. My niece, 4, she's sick. And driving home from work Friday. This is a 2 weeks after Christmas, after New Year's. Friday, yesterday, driving home from work. My phone starts blowing up. It's my wife texting me. She's like, hey, did you donate $1,000 to your sister's GoFundMe account? And I'm like, no, I don't have $1,000 to donate. She's really cool. Like normally this would have, like if I spent $1,000 without telling my wife, I'd probably be talking to a lawyer. We have a rule in our house. Like you could spend up to $100 without having to tell anybody. So I can spend $100 and I don't have no questions asked. Anything over $100, I gotta just let her know. I don't have to ask permission. I just gotta tell her. Vice versa. So she's like, I'm not mad, but I need to know so I can transfer money out of our savings account because we got bills that are going to bounce if that's the case. And I'm like, no, I didn't do that. I don't know who did. And I don't know. Well, she's like, your name's attached to $1,000 on this GoFundMe donation. And I'm like, well, check our bank account. I don't know. Maybe, I'm thinking maybe I screwed up and hit the wrong button, did something. Because I checked it, periodically. But nothing, I didn't do it. So long story short, no money came out of her account. But somebody donated $1,000 and attached my name to it. Instead of being anonymous or like Joe or, you know, whomever. They just put my name on it.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, you know, just speechless, just blown away. Like, can't believe it, you know. And I have friends that donated, you know, Bill donated some money and a bunch of other people did. And it's just amazing. Like, you know, I was talking to my sister and they're scared. Like, she's my niece, before we go any further, my niece is going to be okay. She had pneumonia, strep throat, and flu B, whatever that is. I'm not sure what that is, but she got strep throat. She's only 4, so, you know, she can't say, hey, my throat hurts. It's like, my neck hurts, my body aches. You know, she's not like real specific. She doesn't have that vocabulary yet. So they were really like trying to solve the puzzle of everything. And she's going to be okay. It's just, it's weeks in the hospital. It's weeks out of work because they got to take care of the kids. They got to figure out what's happening. And so the bills haven't even come in from the hospital yet, and they have insurance, but you don't know. Yeah, you know,
it's going to start piling
and a helicopter flight and three admitted to 2 different hospitals. You know, that those things are going to add up quick. So it was just really scary. And moral of the story, I was talking about with my sister, and she was just in awe, just shocked and you know, crying and stuff. And it's the vibes you put out there, you know. You do good, you be a good person, and people see that. And I told her, I said, you wouldn't have got none of this if you were an asshole. You know, you're a nice person. You are a caring person. You help people out, and people know that, and they give back. So you've got to remember that and be good and give back. You know, so when this is all said and done, when this is all over, you need to find somebody, maybe multiple somebodies, and like give back. You know. And just put that back out into the universe, because that came back for you, you know. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
that's powerful.
Yeah. So I had to say something because I was in shock, and I did some sleuthing and investigating, trying to figure out who did that. I was calling random friends I know, like, hey, did you maybe donate some money and put my name? And everybody's like, no. I'm not mad. I was scared at first because I thought like somebody hacked my account, you know, but I'm like, if they hacked my account, dummy, they wouldn't donate money to your sister. They'd have emptied it, you know? They're not going to do that for a good cause, but it freaked me out, you know? And there's a handful of people, and I think I know who did it, but I wanted to find out so I could thank them, so I could just tell them that, you know, appreciate it. So if you're out there and you're listening to this, and I haven't figured it out yet, let me know. So anyway, let's back on track. Goals.
That's a powerful story.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's, I mean, $1,000. That's not,
not chump change. No. And you know, especially right after Christmas.
Yes.
You know, that's when things are tight for me. I got 3 kids. You know. Birthdays, all that stuff is like right in the span of about 4 months, and we're counting every dollar right now until about April, you know, and then taxes and stuff. So it's like, it's just bonkers. But it was just really cool, and to know that somebody cared enough to do something like that was really, really awesome. So
awesome.
Anyway. Goals. Back on goals. Let's get back on the topic here at hand. We talked a little bit last time about having like big goals and how a lot of times people give up on those giant goals because they don't see the results, or it's hard. It's like you know, trying to walk on the ceiling or something. It's just an impossible task. And when you have a big goal, you have to have like steps. You got to take steps. You got to take, break that down.
It's like when somebody looks at, building a house. And
yeah.
You're like, I mean, I'm not a contractor, but you build a house, you got to start somewhere. I personally wouldn't know where to start, but there's somewhere to start. Right?
Yeah.
Whether it's smoothing the ground out and packing it down, and you start out building a shed rather than a house, and you get your pier blocks, and you pack the ground. Like, there's some small step that you got to start, and then you got to first go to Home Depot to get those pier blocks.
Yeah. Well, you don't start by painting,
right?
Or like or start roofing, right?
Yeah.
You got to start from the bottom and work your way up.
Yes.
And I think with anything worth doing, any type of a big goal, overarching goal. Whether you're like trying to get a black belt, or you're trying to lose 100 pounds, or you're going to finish college, or whatever the case may be, I think it's great to have that big goal, but if you don't do any prep work beforehand, like you're gonna make it that much harder on yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I first started this new job, right, working, I'm in the car a lot, so I would just like drive till you get hungry, work till you get hungry, and then you like hit a drive-through.
Right.
A week or two after that, my wife's going, "You're spending almost what you're making right now, so do you want to maybe not do that?" And in talking with a couple of the other guys, I met a couple of really good people, kind of go. Grab me around the neck and kind of like, "Hey, you got a meal prep?"
Yeah.
You dummy. One that we're going to have here next week, and hopefully talk to him about some stuff. But you got to prep for that end result, And if you want to save money, it's not going to be found going through the drive-through every day.
Drive-through just is convenient.
It's convenient.
When has fast food ever tasted really good? Very rarely. Like, I do the same thing with my job, my day job
a lot too.
My day job doing process serving, and that's my day job, that I do while I'm still pursuing my dreams of being a filmmaker. I'm working towards that. So process serving, I'm driving, serving people legal paperwork, and it's the same thing. It's like, oh, that's convenient. Like, I'll just stop over here, I've got my places I stop, and then I'm like, how much money am I spending? Like, this, and then it adds up. Boom, boom.
Well, then you factor in gas and all the other stuff, and you get gas, and it's like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. I'll go get a Snickers. And then you're like, oh, I gotta wash that down with something, and then
the sugar-coated lies.
Exactly. So one of the things, having those goals, but having the little mini goals to add up to the big goal. The sugar-coated lies brings me back to the deaf reset thing that I'm doing for the third time. Overall, they just break it down like weekly, daily. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things that you should do every day, and it's just this little checklist. Did you wake up early? Did you drink water? Did you exercise? Did you read? Did you eat good? Did you hydrate? All of those things, and it makes that big mountain just seem like that much smaller, because you're just checking things off.
It's manageable.
It's manageable, and it's not overwhelming. Like if you started martial arts and your first class you had to test for your black belt, you don't know anything. You
have good insurance.
You don't have the wherewithal, the knowledge, the experience to deal with that. And so, so you just, you break it down and make it manageable. It's the carrot and the stick. You know what I'm talking about? I was talking with my wife about this yesterday or the day before.
You mean the person sitting on the horse?
You dangle the carrot in front of the horse, and the horse keeps going after the stick, going after the carrot, right?
Yeah.
The goal, the horse never gets the carrot because you need that carrot for the next time you ride the horse. but the big goal is the carrot, and the stick is the means to the carrot. So you have to ask yourself sometimes, are you focusing on the stick or the carrot? Sometimes you need to be focusing on the stick and ignore the carrot for a minute. Other times you focus on the carrot and forget about the stick. Right?
That's pretty deep.
Yeah. So this is not an original idea. Unfortunately, it's not mine. I was driving to Weaverville, listening to the Huberman Lab podcast with David Goggins was the guest.
Okay.
Huberman Lab is he is a science doctorate. I don't know. He's a major science guy at Stanford, and he does brain stuff. His podcast is super deep and talks about different things like he's had a podcast on caffeine and the effects on the brain, nicotine, different drugs. He's a real physical fitness kind of guy, way into that sort of stuff, and talks about all sorts of different things. And he had David Goggins on, and if you know who David Goggins is, okay, David Goggins is like this animal that runs ultra marathons, Navy SEAL. He was talking about the carrot and the stick, and how, you know, you MFers focus on the carrot. You all focus on the carrot. I'm focusing on the stick. You know, but it made me bust up laughing. But I had to stop it for a second because I was like, okay, what's he mean by the carrot and the stick? You know, the carrot's the goal, and the whole carrot and the stick thing is designed for the horse or the donkey or whatever to never get the carrot.
Yep.
You never get the carrot because otherwise there's no motivation for him to move. Focusing on the carrot too much as a human being, you get pissed off or discouraged or frustrated because you never get the carrot. Because you're focused on the carrot too much. You're not focused on the steps it takes to get to the carrot.
And the stick
is the steps. The stick is the means of the holding the carrot.
Where does the string come in? That is the stick in the carrot, right?
Well,
that's part of it.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Let's just say it's a sharpened stick and you stab the carrot.
Okay. Then you can like hold it over the horse, like, we're going to the left, we're going to the right.
Going to the right, going up the hill, going down the hill.
Yeah.
But I wish that was an original idea. That was one of those things that I heard and like, oh man, that makes sense, but dang it, I wish I had it. I wish that was my idea. That would have been great to use, you know? Well, I'm not plagiarizing. I'm giving credit where credit's due. It's not an original idea. You didn't hear it from me.
Hey, good ideas, man. They spread like wildfire.
For sure.
So it's it's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good story.
Yeah.
I've never, my dad
your dad's a horse guy.
Is a retired horse trainer and horse farrier, and did it for 40 or 50 some years, right? I think it's 50 some years.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I grew up riding horses. I don't remember learning how to ride a horse. I was probably born on a horse. I don't know.
You just know how to ride horses.
I just popped out right in the saddle and started riding. I don't know, but I've never done that carrot and the stick thing. But that's an interesting concept.
Well, it's an old, like,
oh yeah,
it's I don't know, a wives' tale, or you
yeah.
know what I mean? It's been around for generations, hundreds of years, probably. I don't know, but
it's been around.
Yeah, it's been around. It's been around. You know, it's funny. You talked about the horse. There was for a long time at Sportsman's Warehouse. There was a picture of you on a horse hunting. You know, you got dove or something.
Yeah.
And every time the boys go in there, because I pointed it out to them. Every time the boys go in there, they go, "Oh, where's Tyler's picture?" And I'm like, "I don't know. They probably took it down. It was a couple years back."
Yeah, I'm sitting on a
But
horse.
we have to look for it with Tom.
Every time
we go in there.
Yeah, I'm sitting on a horse with a shotgun in my one hand and a dove I shot from the horse in another, and my reins in one hand. Yeah, that was a good time. Goals are for the new year, and I think when you set new goals and you're talking about the carrot and the stick, and then you've got your goals, and but you've also got to focus on the stick, not just the carrot.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like to do is think about, I'm at the age now where I can think now, okay, this is January 2024. Where these goals that I have, where am I going to be January 2025? Like I'm looking at my 39-year-old self a year from now,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be like, okay, did I stick to these goals? Like, or did I just like,
Well,
what did I do for a year? You know?
Yeah. It's funny. New year, new goals, those things. It's funny. I always heard you should write down your goals. Write them down. Well, as a kid, you write down all these big goals. I would have a list, like 10, 20 things, all these things I want to do. But they don't really go into detail about that. They just say, write your goals down and have a good day.
Yeah.
And some of those goals are definitely achievable. But like there was no plan. There was no like, okay, here's the steps of how to do that.
Right.
You know? And we talked a little bit about this on the last episode, but I always now with stuff like this, I do a year and 6 months, depending on the goal. I'll write down like, okay, this is the thing I want to do in a year. This is the thing I need to do 6 months from now to get to that year goal. If it's really big, I'll break it down into like 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. Mm-hmm. So it makes it a little bit more manageable. You eat that elephant one bite at a time as opposed to just trying to cram the whole thing in your face. And that has been really helpful, like with the podcast and stuff, like having a 3-month goal and having a 6-month goal and a 9-month and 12-month thing. And it's surprising how much more I accomplished as opposed to just having the big goal.
Yeah, when you chunk
it out, divided it up into small bite-sized pieces. I mean, this is going on 3 years now, almost 3 years, and
that we've been doing
the podcast. Yeah, sorry, I need to develop that a little bit more. That thought, but when we first started, it was just a simple conversation between the two of us, and it was like, hey, let's do a podcast. Okay, cool. How do we do that? I don't know. And then but it just morphed into there. It's like, oh, well, we want to get more gear, or we want to do this, or let's get some stickers. Let's, and we had all of these jumbled ideas, and it was like, okay, let's put it together and write it out and like divvy it up a little bit. Okay, like you take care of this week, and I'll take care of this week. And we've had setbacks. It hasn't been all lined out. It hasn't been perfect, but it's gotten easier and gotten a little bit better, and it's grown every little step of the way. It's forward progress. The problem is it's not immediate progress.
Yes.
Right? Like you don't see that. Like when you try, like I was talking to somebody earlier about like people who are trying to do something like lose weight or get work out, exercise, whatever, or join martial arts. Like you don't see those immediate results, but if you stick with it long enough, eventually you have somebody come up to you and notice it. They'll be like, hey, did you lose weight? Did you get a haircut? Did you do something different? And those are the things like that's a good measurement. When you have random people coming up to you without you prodding them, and they're just like, hey, what's new? What's different about you? What did you do differently? Those things take time, and you don't notice them all. So, they're not so easily noticeable.
But they're so sweet.
They're so sweet when they happen.
I was at the hardware store this last week, and that, like what you're saying, you don't see the results immediately. But I was at the hardware store, and I ran into the wood shop teacher from my high school. And one of the first things he says to me is he's and I never had him as a teacher.
Oh, okay.
But I had him when I did drama and theater in high school, and we did our plays. He was the wood shop teacher that came in and built sets for our play. Right and on. So he's a Vietnam vet. I'm a Afghanistan and Kosovo vet, and so we immediately have that connection of the veteran connection and a combat vet connection. And so he's like, the first thing he says to me is he's like, hey, I saw that you're in a movie, and like I've been following you online and like seeing that you're gonna be in a movie, and what's all about this?" And I was like, "Wow, like
cool.
that was so cool to run into somebody that from my high school that did that stuff." And he's like, "Man, I want to know. I want to, let me know." And I was just like, "Man, it's so nice to know. I made a movie." 9 months ago, and now we're coming to getting towards releasing it, and people are like, "When's your movie coming out? When's your movie coming out?" And it's that sweet gratification, I guess, you get when people notice your hard work.
Yeah.
Hey, I noticed, somebody says, "Hey, I noticed you lost weight." Hey, I know, like, and all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere, and you're like, like those are so cool.
Absolutely. That's cool.
That just happened that just happened like 2 days ago. And he his name is Brian. And he's like, "Man, who knew back in high school that I was basically I was working in drama and building sets with you, and now you're producing and starring in a movie, which you were doing back in high school, which was, theater." And I was like, whoa, that's what I wanted back then, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, and joking, we're joking. And I was like, that was my goal back then. Yeah. Even in high school was to be in movies. And now here I am, literally almost 20 years later from when I graduated, and I run into him. And I've seen him around town, but it's just so nice to have those, because it's not, for me, it's not an ego, a stroke to your ego or something. It's like, wow, like people notice you stuck to your goals.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. It's not an ego thing. It's just,
for some it could.
For some it could definitely feed that ego thing. And there's a little bit of like pride in it.
Yeah, it's healthy pride.
But it's a healthy pride.
It's a healthy pride.
Yeah.
So, you recognize, hey, I did my morning workouts for 3 months, and all of a sudden somebody sees me at the store and they're like, "Hey, wow.
Yeah, did you lose weight?
Yeah. Like, you're looking good." Yeah.
Well, and you also feel good doing something like that. That's the thing that I think a lot of people are looking for. A lot of people are looking for, like, hey, life's hard. I'm run down. I feel like crap. I want to feel better. I want to be better. I want to, there's so much like outside influence that just kind of grinds you down, whether it's work or family life or school or
other people.
Yeah. That constant grind of just the outside world that, this is the only thing that I've found that makes me feel good and feel genuinely like I am better. Not better than, but just I personally, my person is better. I feel better. I am happier. I'm more pleasant to be around. I'm more engaging with people. I'm more like open to, no, again, this is just me thinking. I don't know this for a fact. This is just the way I feel. But I seem to be more in tune with how others are. Like if something's wrong, hopefully I pick up on it and go, "Hey, you okay? What's going on?" But that's what works for me.
Yeah.
But having that daily little list of like, "Oh, hey, I didn't drink enough water today," or "Hey, I didn't exercise. That's why I feel like, why do I feel like crap?" Well, I haven't moved off the couch all day.
Yeah.
I have a step tracker on my phone, and during the week, like on a good day at work, I'll plug in 5-6 miles, just walking around inside of stores and stuff. There's some days on that step tracker, Saturday and Sunday, it's not exactly 0, but it's pretty close to 0. And I'll it'll be Sunday afternoon, and I'll look at my, be like, "What? I feel like crap." Well, dummy, you haven't moved off the couch in 8 hours. What happened? Duh.
And it's those small little things, like when you're saying with your checklist that you do. You wake up every morning. You've got your, did I eat well? Did I drink enough water?
Yeah. Did I read?
Did I read? And it's all kinetic linking. I've talked about that before. It's those small steps that you take every day. You're taking small individual steps from your checklist as well as walking.
Yeah.
And then they add up. And then over months, people see it, like you notice it, and then people see it, and it's like, oh, or you feel it. You feel it in your body, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. So kinetic linking, you said you wanted to talk about that. So
so kinetic linking, so I'm not a scientist. I don't know the exact definition of that, but it's something to Google and research. But what we talk about in martial arts is, every little movement that you contribute to a strike, like say a punch, right? Just like a regular front punch, straight punch, whatever you want to call it. You're throwing your fist out, you're twisting the ankle that the same side of the fist is on, you're twisting your hips.
Pushing off that foot.
You're pushing off the foot, you're rotating at the hips, you're rotating your shoulder. It's all these little movements that go click, 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 and they all add up.
Yeah.
And so you're actually, even though your fist is maybe traveling only the length of your outstretched arm, but there's way more power behind it when you've got all those little mini rotations that add up to one big rotation. And it's all about that first little movement, that first little step, we're talking about New Year's goals, something to think about. Where is a person at that they have a goal that they want to go to, which is the carrot, but then they've got to have the stick, right? And they've got to prepare that stick.
Yeah. How do you prepare that stick?
I mean, here, like, so for example, for me, I'm winding down on post-production on my movie, and we're getting ready to release it. Keep everyone updated. But I'm now like, well, I've got to think about my next movie that I'm going to try to do. So I did something. I was like, well, the first step I got to do is I got to have a script. You can't make a movie without a script. Actually, you can, but they usually turn out not that good. It's best to have a script.
You need to have a plan.
You need to have a blueprint.
Yeah.
And a script is a blueprint. I was taught in film school, and so I've been on this website on the internet that producers use, and you put out queries and you say, hey, I want a movie script in a Western, or I want an action adventure, or I want a romance, I want a comedy. You put out these queries. Well, I put out a query thinking like, oh, I'll get, 10, 20 scripts back. 600 scripts later.
No kidding.
600 scripts later.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going through 600 submissions, and I'm not even reading these entire scripts. I'm looking at the log line, which is just a synopsis of the movie, And so it's usually a 1 or 2 sentence synopsis of what goes on in the movie, and that's the hook. So 600 scripts later, and I'm combing through all these, I find one I like, and I'm like, oh, email the writer. He emails me back, he gets the script, or I get the script from him. We have a great conversation. I read the script. I go back to him and I say, hey, and he's a fellow veteran, so we instantly had that connection. And he's a writer living down in LA, and so he gives me the script. We did a call, and we talked about this project, and it was ultimately he decided, because it was his script, that he didn't want to move forward with the script with me, based on my ideas of little tweaks to the story to make it what I perceive to make it a better script. And so we don't move forward. And so that was some nice rejection therapy,
But you don't know until you try.
You don't. 600 scripts. But so I was momentarily kind of disappointed. I was like, oh man, I really like this script that this story is about, and I really like this character that I want to play. But this guy wrote the script. It's his.
It's
like
his baby.
He can do whatever. He created it. That's his. And I was like, okay, well, I'll find another one.
Yeah, it's kind of like dating.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay, God will provide something else. So 4 days later, I get a text from this guy, and he's like, hey man.
Same guy,
same writer. He shoots me a text, and he says, hey man, I've got another script with the lead starring role in this script you would be perfect for in this script. Like the last script, you weren't right. He didn't think I was right for the lead role
Okay.
in that one, among other things. And then, he's like, I've got this perfect script for you that you would be good as the lead role. So I'm like, dude, shoot it over. Like, I'll read it tonight,
Yeah.
And so he emails it, and I'm floored. It's, to me, a much better fit for me, and the lead role, and it's a funny script. And so, anyways, it went. So we're talking right now. May come to be something, may come to be nothing. But I'm just saying that first little step was me putting out that query on the website.
Mm-hmm.
Which all it took was me to sit down and type out what I wanted and put out a query, and then I got 600 scripts back.
That's insane.
And I haven't checked in a couple days, so I might even have more now because they kind of slowly trickle in and then stop.
Is it kind of like Craigslist, where you put out an ad and then like you get all sorts of different?
It's similar, but it's very similar, but you
The
put
same kind of idea.
Yeah, and you have to register with the website as like I registered as a producer of films because I just produced the film, and so I email the website, and then the people that run the website, and then they are like the not the filter, but they then say, okay, they take my query and they shoot it out to their network of the writers that register on the website, and then the writers send their stuff to them, and then they send it to me. So that's kind of how it.
Okay, there's like a middleman kind of control stuff, probably to control like fraud and spam and different crap.
Well, yes, among other things, yeah. And so, anyway, so that's what happened, and so. Then after that, and I've been looking at that script, like my next one I want to do, then I started thinking like that activated in my brain. I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. This script is going to be good. I love it. I cannot wait to play this character. And in fact, I have to play this character. And so that started me thinking, okay, well, I've got to, very little in this life is free.
Yeah.
And so I've got to raise some money to make this movie. And so that started my brain spinning. Okay, now where do I go to raise funds for this film? If I'm going to produce this film, I need money to produce
it happen.
And that started my mind spinning. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try these different avenues of approach that I didn't try before with my last film when I tried raising money. I'm going to try these different avenues. And so I started talking to different people connected to money or that have money, and so now I've got a whole different way of raising money, an idea that I've never done before, and so now I'm experimenting with that. And that all started because I sat down at the laptop and put out a query, and so now that's where I'm at. May come to nothing, and maybe I update you in 2 months from now on this, and maybe this project didn't work out, but it leads to something else.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
Life's weird that way. How wild.
Yeah.
How wild. A couple episodes back, we talked about movie ideas and stuff. Mark, the guy who edits this, he's got an idea that I got to run by you. That I forgot about. He told me all about it.
I'm a producer now. I love getting pitched ideas.
Yeah. So,
but it's that kinetic linking. It's that kinetic linking. All those little things add up.
But you have to do something.
You have to act.
You had to put that ad out. You have to wake up in the morning and do something. You got to make that to get that ball rolling. You've got to be the one to kick it, so to speak.
Oh, that's a good way. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
To get the ball rolling, you've got to be the one to kick it. I like that.
Good.
I played soccer.
I played soccer too. Right on. What else you got? Anything else you want to talk about? We've been doing this 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes maybe. I don't know.
No, I just the one thing that I just love seeing in myself and other people is just that first step, and I know we've harped on that before and talked about it, but it's like, man, whatever your goal is, you got to find that first little step.
Yeah, for sure.
And
for sure. I think that has been my biggest issue because I get overwhelmed with things like anybody else. But like, that's the thing that holds me back the most. Like, I'll come up with this thing. I'll be super excited about it for a week or so. And I'll make all these lists and stuff. And I just don't know what's that first step. What do I do first? What if I make the wrong step? You're gonna make the wrong step. You're gonna make probably 100 wrong steps. The fact of the matter is, it's like the big deciding factor is, do you try to keep stepping or do you quit? Because we're all going to fail. We're going to fail over and over and over again. That's part of life. How much, how hard are you willing to work for whatever that goal is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got to, I think another word I've heard for passion, right? So our passion, when we have a passion in life, I think another word for passion, if you've heard this, is suffering. So whatever your passion is in life, I don't know if it's Latin or whatever it is, but passion is, I believe, suffering. If I'm wrong, somebody can tell me.
I think you're right. You're right.
So whatever your passion is in life, whether you want to build that shed, build that house, start that podcast, build your business or plan a trip, or whatever your passion is, you almost have to suffer a little bit. And those are the slips, the mistakes.
Yeah. Well, my wife's going to school and she was telling me about how hard it is. And she got straight A's. Like, I'm not supposed to tell anybody. She doesn't want anybody to brag. But she got straight A's. She kicks so much butt. It's not funny. She's amazing. But she was struggling with it at one point. I'm like, well, is it enough to make you want to quit? She's like, no, I don't want to quit. But it's hard. I go, yeah, of course it's hard. It's not supposed to be. If it was easy, everybody'd have their degree. They'd hand them out. They'd hand them out at the Walmart. If it was easy, everyone would have one. And you can't make it easy. There's some stuff that just can't be easy. The question you have to ask yourself, is this hard stuff worth going through to get whatever it is that you want? If it's not, find something else. But if it is, keep digging, keep working, because life's hard. Whether you're doing something or you're not, life's hard. If you're sitting on the couch and you're overweight and you're miserable, life's hard. If you're working your butt off and sweating and falling into bed every night exhausted, life's hard. Choose your hard,
choosing the hard. And when, we all talk about goals and staying to your goals. Yeah. The backside of that, of your goals, is knowing when to cut the cord, and say, hey, this path I'm going down, this really isn't working.
Is this goal really what I'm wanting?
Or is it doable? Or it's just something that you have to evaluate, and that's a personal decision that everyone has. One of the greatest things right now that I'm going through is that in this day and age, we hear a lot about mentoring, right? And mentoring and having a mentor over you. And I think having a mentor is a fantastic idea. I think having multiple mentors, I think that is a really good idea. In my opinion, at the end of the day, a mentor shouldn't tell you what to do. At the end of the day, your decision, whether you go down this path and see towards your goal or cut the cord, you're the one that's on that path, not the people around you, not the mentors. You're the one on that path. And so I think getting advice on, from mentors or elders, whatever, family, friends, more mature people than you, I think
there's a lot of that.
There's a
lot of people more mature than me.
And advice and a term that I've heard that I've never forgot. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Don't cost anything to talk. That's cheap. And so, people, I'm not really relating this to my goals. I'm just saying, like, for everyone that has these things, you may start down a path and say, hey, I'm going to go start a business, start a podcast, whatever. And you may start down that path and you may have naysayers or you may have people that are encouraging you. And at the end of the day, you're the one on that path and you have to decide, am I going to listen to all these other people and what they're telling me? But they don't have the skin in the game that you do that's starting that business.
Yeah.
It's so easy to give someone else
a
critique, a judgment, advice. Sometimes advice is unwanted. You know, someone will start telling me something, or I see it in other people. You know, people will give other people advice, and I'm like, well, they didn't ask for that. Like, again, talk is cheap. You know, but we all have free speech, so we can't control what we say. But if I've been talking recently with a lot of people, and I was like, where I am in life with film and movies, and I know I always keep coming back to film, and so I would not be where I'm at now if I would have listened to everyone. I've gone back through and traced from the origins of when I was working on movies, and I was like, oh, I want to star and produce in my own film. I went back to that point, just that point where I was transitioning out of being the lower ranking person on a film set and being like, oh, I want to promote myself because no one else is. So I went to that point, and there was a lot of people when I made the decision with my friend to make this movie, there was a lot of people that had all these different opinions that we were doing it wrong. Oh, I'm talking big time executive producers in LA. Multiple people were like literally said, you're going about this all wrong. And I was like, okay. And I listened to it because I don't want to burn bridges, you know, but at the end of the day, I was just like, this is my decision. I'm the one on this path. That person is not on the path with me.
Yeah.
If they're on the path walking beside me, then they've got to say, they've got to say, but if they're sitting on the sidelines, given their critique on something,
then they got nothing to add.
They got nothing to add. So I've really thought about this as I've been moving forward into this. I want to do another movie. I'm going to do another movie. That when I started to the pre-production process of filming that movie, everyone was saying, don't do it. You're going about this all wrong. And I just said, no, we're doing it. Including to my friend who was like, oh, we don't have enough money to do the movie. And I'm like, we got to do it, man. How long are we going to sit on this egg until it hatches? You know, type thing. And so I've gotten to that point now, and I can look back at all the naysayers, the people giving so-called good advice, you know, and I can say, I wouldn't be here if I would have listened to everyone.
Yeah.
And so it's filtering through what those people are telling you, whatever you are doing in your life. Like, do they have skin in the game? Do they it's easy to say, oh, this isn't working out for you, but they're the ones sitting on the sidelines. It's easy to sit in the crowd in an MMA fight and say, oh, he should have done this arm bar in this position.
Yeah,
it's like, well, you weren't the one out in the ring.
Get your face smashed.
Yeah. When you're getting an arm bar done on you, you try to think you know, you're just kind of responding. So that's like been a big thing for me, and I see it in other people where the people we almost put other people giving advice or mentors, and I'm not dissing on mentoring. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying mentors are a good thing that they're there, and if they're not on the path with you, you really don't just take their advice as gospel.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I am for mentoring and all that, or, getting advice from people. But at the end of the day, you're the one on that path.
Yeah. That was good. That's good. I think we should call it right there. I don't know if we could add to that anymore. That's the cream on the top.
That was a pretty deep subject.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, friends, we got a website, theformlesspod.com. We will have stickers up there shortly.
They're cool stickers.
They're dope.
They're great.
They're dope. I'll show the camera one more time. You have to watch this on YouTube. Oh, right there. Maybe get that glare out of there. But we'll have those up, and they'll have better pictures on the website soon. We'll have some more stuff. We're working on some other things. I've got some secret stuff up in the planning stages. Trying to find out little bit of things here. I think it'll tie in with our goal setting that we were talking about today.
Let's get some of you guys out there emailing us, messaging us, like
Yeah, it's been a little dry lately.
topics that you guys want to talk about, you know, and for us to go into, maybe something we can research and talk about.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. The other thing that I wanted to do, and we got to talk about too, is maybe doing some demonstration, not demos, but maybe just do some live video punch and kick and stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
Times.
We need to we want to get into doing some contests, you know, with our audience.
When we get that all worked out on the website, we'll do something fun with that. Hand out a couple free ones or something.
You got a plan?
Yeah, I got a plan. Just got to put it in motion. Kick that ball. Right on, friends. Enjoy your evening. Thank you. Go ahead. There we go. Awesome.